Hello, welcome to Iroquois High School and our first ever virtual graduation. I am Douglas Wilson, principal, and I wanted to thank you for watching our ceremony this evening celebrating the class of 2020. This has been a very strange ending to our school year. Our seniors have been wonderful through all of the adversity our country is facing with this pandemic. I can speak for the entire staff when I say that we are very remorseful that our seniors missed out on so many traditions that we have taken for granted over the years. I would now like to recognize some of the people who have made this possible. Parents and guardians of the graduates, congratulations. This virtual celebration is as much for you as it is for them. Teachers and staff, thank you for dedicating your life's work to shaping the minds of our young people. I would like to extend a special acknowledgement to Mrs. Linda Smith, who will be retiring this year. We were blessed that she came back to be a Brave one more time. School board members, your hours of service and commitment to the school district is something that we appreciate deeply. Last but not least, I would like to take a moment to congratulate our outstanding seniors. Class of 2020, we are exceedingly proud of you. If I may impart one thought, the world never meets anyone halfway. Do your best to finish what you start and never, never settle for anything but the best. It is my pleasure now to introduce the president of the Iroquois School Board, Ms. Julie Abel, for a greeting from the Iroquois School District Board of Directors.
Greetings to the class of 2020. I always thought the year 2020 sounded so memorable, and little did I ever imagine how memorable it would be. It is my honor to come to you as a representative of your Iroquois School Board to give a heartfelt congratulations and well wishes of success in your future endeavors. However, I represent so much more than that, and I have a more personal message for you all. I'm a mother to graduating Jackson Abel and freshman Grace Abel. I'm a volunteer as a room mom for 10 years, a band mom for 5 years, and a school board member for 9 years, and its president for 2. And I am also an Iroquois alumni from the class of 1986. It doesn't seem that long ago, but it was actually 34 years ago. I am a daughter of 2 Iroquois school teachers. In fact, my father, Dennis Luce, was a teacher for over 30 years. He was a football coach and a golf coach. He graduated from Lawrence Park High and was raised in Lawrence Park as well. I went on to become a teacher for 10 years in a different system, and I have my master's degree in education. I am now a realtor for 8 years, selling homes to families who are trying to get into this awesome district of ours. To say that I'm Iroquois proud is an understatement. I know our history, our district, the importance of education, and I know so many of you. I have seen so many of you grow up. When I think about you, the class of 2020, there is a character trait that stands out among all of you, and that is strength. I have witnessed strength in so many of you and have heard incredible stories of you leading your schoolmates with direction and confidence and character on the court and the field, the classrooms, the stage, the pool, and the track. I have seen and heard the personal stories as well, and I'd like to call out a few of you. Matt Rose and Joey Wargo, I'll start with you. You have shown strength and character, loyalty, friendship, hard work. Countless times I've seen them stand up for what's right and good. Joe Westcott has shown strength by jumping in to help others several times, even at the risk of his own safety. Hayden Miller has the strength to rally behind an underdog when she sees an injustice, and she's been doing this for years. Zach Jakula, as a little preschooler, reached out of his comfort zone to be a friend. Zach also didn't think twice last summer as a lifeguard at Presque Isle as he saved an infant from drowning. And now he steps up to be a Marine serving our country. I'd like to also mention Hayden Gray, Connor Sunny, Zach Barker, Nate Gay, and Matt Alessi, who are all showing their strength in enlisting in the services as well, and they're going off to protect our country. I'd like to mention Kiana Mayo, rallied by her brother with her family while he was fighting for his life, yet still showed up to put her best in. She had a smile for me every time I saw her. I know Joshua Pichelle, and I know Abby Peterson. They have each showed leadership and strength with their peers in sports and activities in the wake of sadness of losing a parent. And I also know Adam Seymour. He has shown superior strength and leadership with his classmates and as a section leader in the marching band for years, as well as recently with a fight against his cancer. I am sure this list is not limited to only the students that I mentioned. However, these are the stories that I know personally and touch my heart. Globally, this class of 2020 was born around the year that 9/11 took place in our country and grew up in its wake. You were primary school children when the recession hit hardest. You and your families have seen the stress these events have caused our homes, schools, and country. So I had a speech prepared a couple months ago because I'm OCD like that. And then the pandemic occurred and changed pretty much everything. So I hurried to write something new and more fitting, like the one I wrote. Afterwards, felt a little less legit than this one. I crumpled it up and tossed it across the room to the wastebasket, much to what I imagined my junior high basketball coach Tom Crozier's dismay. I missed it by a mile. That's how I roll. So I went back to this speech, and here's why. Your strength is still within each of you. Who you all have become through the years is still who you all are. The trials, your accomplishments, your goodness, the sum of what you have learned is still who you all have become. You still are the class of 2020. You achieved this, and here you are, you made it. So be proud. Yes, the virus stole your last memorable moments of your senior year, the winter sports and activities award ceremonies, the spring sports and activities, the plays, the concerts, the trips, the prom. But it did not take your years away that brought you to this point. It did not touch your successes, your growth, and your achievements. It did not touch who you are as graduates, and this world is blessed to have your strength. There is no doubt in my mind that you are leaving Iroquois as prepared, confident, and competent adults. Take all of your earnings and show this world what you got. It needs you. I wish you peace, blessings, and continued strength to you all, and congratulations to the memorable class of 2020. Thank you. It's my honor to introduce keynote speaker Ian Brady.
Good evening, Iroquois High School class of 2020. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ian Brady, and in order to convince you all that I've got any right to talk to you about your first steps into adulthood, I've grown out my facial hair over the last week. Yeah, I hope you're convinced that I'm a grown-up because, to be completely frank, I'm not always sure I am, but either way, it's super cool to me that I get to share this unconventional and grand moment in your life with you. So please suspend your disbelief and just trust me. I promise I'm 21. And since I've begun paying my student loan debt back, I have officially graduated into the world of adulthood. Now, I would be remiss in not extending my sympathy. There's a good chance you're heartbroken over all the things you've lost these past few months. I expect you're anxious as we move so uncertainly forward. Those feelings are fair and they're valid. This isn't how things were supposed to go, and you're allowed to grieve that. But I do encourage you to notice that in the midst of an international crisis, your teachers didn't hesitate to elevate you and pull together all of these moving pieces into the form of a celebration for you. Your parents rock too. Look, we're all on the struggle bus right now, but you made it anyway. You graduated. Congratulations to all of you and to everyone who helped make that possible. So, now that I've got the introductory rambling out of the way, allow me to address the elephant on the Zoom call. I have to admit that I spent a lot of time asking myself and others what I'm sure you're all thinking right now. Why on earth is this child speaking to me at my graduation? We literally went to high school at the same time. Fair and true. But then it struck me. And by struck me, I mean I called Mrs. Hazlett and asked her to explain it to me. I'm speaking to you tonight because even though I will never be able to fully relate to this idea of losing the big moments of my senior year and maybe the beginning of my next steps, things historically refuse to go as planned for me. My senior year, for example, it was my expectation and my dream that I would be spending the next 4 years at Ithaca College, home to one of the nation's finest communications departments. For financial reasons, I ended up at my backup plan, Point Park University. Now, I'll admit, I don't buy this philosophy that everything happens for a reason, and I hope that doesn't strike you as sacrilegious or disrespectful, but how can we believe that there's any reason good enough for the nearly 350,000 deaths the globe has been faced with these past months? I refuse to feed you that. But what I do and did even then believe is this: it is vital we seek purpose anyway. I sought the purpose of what I thought was a tragedy when I was 17, and I ended up building a network of friends like I've never known before. In some weird way, my time at Point Park led me to an early graduation that has brought me to where I am today. Because I decided to seek purpose anyway, I wound up discovering new parts and strengths of myself and my identity in such a way that I cannot imagine my growth occurring anywhere else. Now, it's important for you all to recognize that I am the regional organizing director for a nonpartisan political organization called Next Gen America. I promise I won't bore you with my political agenda. But just a reminder, if you will be 18 by November 3rd, 2020, you can and should register to vote now. Anyway, my degree is in communications, right? Going into college, I expected a career in something like journalism, professional writing, or nonprofit communication work. At one point, I genuinely aspired to be writing BuzzFeed quizzes. Well, in order to make some extra money in 2018, I took on a fellowship for the organization with which I am presently employed. On October 27th of that year, I was knocking on doors in the Pittsburgh neighborhood of Squirrel Hill when not half a mile away, 11 of the city's most precious were being massacred in a synagogue at their Shabbat service. As we returned to safety, I felt the most lost I've ever felt. I began seeking a purpose I could not find. I attended each vigil the city held, and still, I was at a complete loss. It wasn't until I was called home to Erie 5 days later to say goodbye to my dying grandfather that I found it. What those of you who know me well may know is that a number of my paternal relatives of mine and I clash politically. Again, I'm not here to share my agenda or shame theirs. But after leaving the scene of a hate crime and returning home to see a loving man and political opponent of mine one last time, I sought and discovered the lesson waiting to be learned. That I was being called to use my skills as a communicator, not to write BuzzFeed quizzes, but instead to engage in a movement of young people demanding the eradication of hate on a bipartisan level. As I drove back into the city, I was struck by the Pittsburgh skyline, lit entirely in blue, in solidarity with those impacted by the hate crime at the Tree of Life Synagogue. People across the city decided to seek the purpose despite it seeming entirely absent, and they came to the same conclusion. That night, with the image of the skyline seared into my memory, I decided to graduate school a year early to begin work as soon as possible. None of these things were in my plan. I today am the director of Next Gen in Philadelphia because I didn't believe that there were reasons for the misfortunes that challenged me. But I decided to seek their purpose anyway. So, here you are, graduating into a world that nobody seems to know what to do with. Universities are uncertain if they'll open for in-person learning this fall. Many of you entering the workforce immediately will be met with some obscure challenges. Nobody's plans are working out. And I implore you to see that not as the clear misfortune it is, but instead as the opportunity that it can be. When this all began in early March, I remember calling my mom and saying to her, I'm scared about what the next few months may bring, but still, I'm ecstatic for the future. And I am. And that's because it's your world to rebuild and reimagine. You and I are the creators of tomorrow. For that reason, I feel secure. I trust you. I look forward to working with you to change the world. And on changing the world, it's important to recognize that changing the world isn't hard. Like anything else, you just have to adjust it slightly. And it's different. You'll have changed the world. As we all move forward in a world that cannot be predictable, a world in which your plans may seem scattered to the wind, I wouldn't dream of telling you that there's a purpose for any of this. But I dare you to seek it anyway.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Joseph Wargo, salutatorian of the class of 2020.
Hello there. It is an honor for me to virtually address you today as the class salutatorian. To all the graduates at home, congratulations. I don't mean to be cliche, but we finally made it. All of our accomplishments through the last 4 years have finally led to this moment in our life, a forever life-changing climax to the rising action that is high school. This may not have been the way we all envisioned, but nonetheless, I will try my best to impart some inspirational knowledge by the end of this speech. Throughout our high school careers, we were brought up to expect magical and exciting things to come by the end of senior year. But as you all know, this year's plan of events unfortunately was halted. Yet, here we are still, convening in our homes and with our families to celebrate these accomplishments to the class of 2020. As Charles Dickens puts it, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. The contradictions Dickens points out in his writing are normal balances of life. He tells of a balance between love and hatred, good and evil, wisdom and folly, and for all my Star Wars fans out there, light and dark. I'm talking to you, Mrs. Doberspeck. He tells of times of despair, but he also tells of great joys in our lives. Despite there sometimes only being low moments present in one's daily life, there was always room for joy, and it's just a matter of finding it and using it to your advantage. Sometimes certain circumstances are out of your control, making it the absolute worst of times. I mean, considering the recent events, some of you may call this the worst time of your life, but many people are dealing with similar concerns. Will life ever be the same? How will this affect my future career? And when will this all end? But in light of those concerns, life still continues. We are still moving forward with our lives. We cannot simply stop and give up. At times, we may feel that all hope is lost, but there's always some gift of hope waiting around the corner, and it's just a matter of seeking it out for ourselves. We, as individuals, must not wait for that picture-perfect moment to move our lives forward. It's about learning to use what we have around us and using that as our guide. Although this may not be the life we as graduates wanted coming fresh out of graduation, it is the life that we have been given, so let's try to make the best of it. With that said, I would like to try to make the best of it and present to you all a little something that I have come up with during my 2-month self-isolation, titled Life Lessons Learned in Quarantine. Lesson number 1, it's impossible to avoid people, even in quarantine. As my fellow introverts can relate to, you're probably excited for lockdown because that meant you wouldn't have to interact with other human beings. Unfortunately, it has been proven that you can't escape, not even from your own family. The time spent isolated from each other, in my experience, has brought me closer to the people who are most important in my life, and has forced me to creatively find ways to connect with others. Although this period of time has proven to be difficult, it truly has shown me, a quiet and reserved introverted kid, that maybe people aren't so bad after all. This has inspired me to reach out to people who are most important in my life as I'm going through these big life changes. And I hope that you all can learn to appreciate this the same way that I've grown to appreciate people in my life. Lesson number 2, don't take life for granted. Right now, this moment is the only moment we are guaranteed. Live in each moment and don't take it for granted because it will be missed once it's gone. We as seniors deeply understand this. taking school life for granted until one day, like that, it's gone, and there's no going back. Only good memories to fill the gaps. So don't be afraid to live your life to the fullest. Try not to dwell on the past, but appreciate what you have in the present and live for that every single day. And last but not least, lesson number 3, make sure to have a little fun. If there's anything I've learned throughout this social isolation, it's that you need to have a little fun with it. In addition to all the Twitter memes to lighten the menacing mood of the pandemic, I have found time to reconnect with several of my hobbies that I've seemed to let go of over time, including new ones such as playing guitar or drawing. Aside from that, if there's one thing collected from these weeks alone, it's to never stop enjoying your time here on this earth, and to make sure that you enjoy the process throughout it all. Now, I challenge all the graduates to incorporate these lessons into your daily life. Nobody can stop these big events, but how we react to them and how we use those changes to our advantages, that is how we win in life. Our attitude is what determines our outcome. Going back to Charles Dickens, it may be the worst of times, but in some ways we are truly living in the best days of our lives. And I'm talking to you graduates. All of us have accomplished something truly spectacular, and it's not something to go unnoticed. So celebrate, because you have all done something truly spectacular amidst the adversity present in your daily life. I would like to take another moment to say congratulations to the class of 2020. I know that we have all anticipated this day, and although it is not the proper graduation that we have all hoped for, I hope that you can all appreciate the effort put into it, but not only your fellow classmates, but the faculty and school board. It's important to celebrate these special moments, these big life changes that we must grow from, and I'm sure this will be one special moment that we will never forget as a class. One last big thank you to all the teachers and faculty for shaping our lives thus far. We may not show it all the time, but we are all very appreciative of your support through these formative teenage years. Now, it is up to us as individuals to take life by the reins and make it what we want. Find the positive that exists within the negative. Make it the best of times and the worst of times. And again, congratulations to the class of 2020. And as David Bowie says, time may change me, but I can't trace time. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce student faculty choice speaker, Kenzie Smith.
Hello, class of 2020, and congratulations. We made it. Thank you all for choosing me to speak at graduation. It is a true honor, and I will do my best not to disappoint. For years, we have watched classes before us walk the stage. We have been able to see the joy on graduates' faces when getting their diplomas handed to them. We have been able to see the 12 years of hard work finally come to fruition when the graduates move the tassels across their heads, hearing hundreds of people applaud their years of hard work. This year, it is different. But that doesn't mean we can't feel the excitement, relief, and triumph of graduating. Actually, we get to feel more of those heartfelt emotions. We are the class of 2020. Yes, we're the class that was deprived of the end of our senior year. No last goodbyes, no senior prom, no senior trip, no senior prank, and no senior skip day. Actually, let me correct myself. We are officially the senior skip day champions, so congratulations. But yes, we had to overcome the transition from in-class to online learning. But we are the class that is graduating through a pandemic. We have fought with resilience through the troubles that life has handed us. We are the graduating class that will go down in history, the class that will be remembered no matter what. And while this virus took up an important and memorable part of our senior year, it doesn't and can never define us. Let us be remembered not for having our senior year and graduation interrupted, but for what we make of it, for what we make of ourselves. Since elementary school, we have been asked the question, are you brave enough? The context of this question has changed as the years have progressed. It went from, are you brave enough to make new friends, to talk to the new kid, to stand up to the bully, to are you brave enough to try out for the varsity sports team, to join a new club, to overcome senioritis. And finally today, we are faced with the question, are you brave enough to face a global pandemic and all of the challenges it presents, as well as all of life challenges ahead? I would like to answer it. Yes, we are brave enough, and we have shown that throughout the years. We have pushed through the years of schoolwork. Many of us have endured the pain and mental adversity of playing a sport, participating in extracurricular activities, or even working a part-time job. We have stood together as one family throughout high school, helping our friends and classmates through hard times. We have even overcome our own personal struggles. But it doesn't end here. The bravery doesn't just stop. We must carry with us the values we have learned throughout high school into the rest of our lives. As Gandhi once said, you must be the change you wish to see in the world, and it can come in many forms. Our generation has an incredible amount of potential, and the power of the youth can never be underestimated. We have what it takes to give back to our community. We did it in our 9/11 Day of Service. For many of us, that experience was humbling, enlightening, and uplifting. That day, we made surgery hats to deliver to Shriners. We wrote to active duty service men and women. We folded hundreds of boxes for Operation Christmas Child. We provided meals for veterans and first responders. We cleaned up inside the Humane Society. We planted flowers around our community. And these are only some of the projects that we completed that day, and it doesn't even begin to quantify the good we did. And we can continue to do more. We already have what it takes to overcome adversity. We did it in school, sports, and even at home. We are the people who can do all of this and so much more. We can stand up for what we believe in. We can take a stand against hate. We can vote. We can affect change in our community. We're a small class that can make an incredible difference in this world just by remembering that we are brave enough. After high school, the question of being brave is no longer proposed by our teachers, counselors, or principals, but by ourselves. Each person must decide for themselves to what degree they wish to pursue bravery in this life. Whether you decide to serve in the armed forces, join the workforce, or continue your education, you will face decisions that will shape who you become and the mark that you leave on this world. Bravery can come in many forms. It is the courage to take appropriate risks. It is the initiative to leave this world a better place than what you inherited. It is the strength to keep getting back up after falling over and over and over again. It is also important to persevere and grow from tribulation. Even in the face of a pandemic, look at us. We're here, and we have learned to reach out to each other and still stay connected. We have learned to overcome the fact that, yes, we may not get a formal graduation, a senior prom, and several other senior activities, but we are making the best of it. Only each of us, individually, can develop the skills needed to go far in our own lives, and I am confident that every single one of us can. I am sad that I can't say goodbye to each of you in person, because you have all shaped my life in unexplainable ways, and I thank you for that. This long road to graduation was winding, but we did it. So congratulations, not only for graduating, but for pushing through the disheartening troubles that this virus has brought to us, not only in school, but also at work and at home. Class of 2020, I am so proud of all of you and wish you all the best of luck with whatever path you have chosen to take. Thank you. I would like to introduce the valedictorian, Rachel Nisgoda.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to address the student body. I'm honored to represent Iroquois as the Class of 2020 valedictorian. I've learned a lot in my time here, but it took a trip to Burger King to put the pieces together. On the night the school delivered our caps and gowns, I found myself celebrating with my fellow seniors in the Burger King parking lot. Fueled by my appreciation and love for the teachers I had just seen, and looking into the familiar faces surrounding me, I had an epiphany. In the 2 months I had gone without seeing them, I missed all of these people, even those I hadn't spoken to in years. I realized I had learned so much from them all and couldn't leave until I had given a piece of that back to them. After spending 9 years at Iroquois, it's hard not to notice how special our community is. The most exceptional feature we display is our acceptance. While most of us have had our fair share of disagreements, I feel that our staff did a great job ensuring students respected each other and helped us resolve our differences. I used to think that films displaying high school as a toxic mix of cliques were fake, but after talking to my friends at other schools, I realized that these cliches are true to some extent. It's just that Iroquois defies that stigma. I'm proud to say I went to a school where people are both free to be themselves and free to find like-minded people. I had various experiences at other schools, but when I came here in second grade, I immediately knew that this school was perfect for me. I was nervous my first day when I sat down next to Isaiah Dalaba in math class, but he accepted me without hesitation and soon became my best friend. In fact, we're still friends to this day. After leaving and coming back again in 5th grade, I was greeted by a smiling Kenzie Smith. She told me that she remembered me and that I still had a place at Iroquois despite being gone for 2 years. Never, for any moment, did I feel alone in my time here. Throughout the years, I've spoken with many others who felt the same way after moving into our district, that we are refreshingly welcoming and accepting. We are one family who loves and respects one another. Iroquois has inspired me in other ways as well. The staff here are extremely accommodating. A great educator is someone who is both respectable and relatable. The teachers at Iroquois exemplify this behavior. In fact, there are some teachers that I have admired so much that I've thought to myself, someday I want to be like that. They've always encouraged me to do my best, even when things are so hard that I wanted to give up. The teachers who have had me in their classrooms know I ask a lot of questions, so online education has been extremely difficult on me. Recently, I was having a lot of troubles finishing a project for Mr. Jones's programming class, so I emailed him asking him for help. When he didn't answer right away, I was a little frustrated. However, I solved the error in my code soon after and turned it in. When he replied to me in his next email, he told me that if he gave me just a little bit more time, he knew I would figure it out. I had never felt so proud and so grateful to have a teacher who believed in me enough to grant me an opportunity to prove to myself that I could do it if I just tried harder. The educators at Iroquois have motivated me like this countless times. This is simply the most recent example. I would like to say this to my peers. Use this microcosm of life to model your futures. While our school is small in numbers, we are big in heart. We have been given many opportunities to learn appreciation and understanding of others. Iroquois has taught us from the start of our education to treat the people around us like family, so let us take that idea with us into the wider world. Let every person you pass on the street be greeted with a warm smile and gentle words, no matter your relation to them. The students at Iroquois have protected, cared for, and encouraged each other in many ways, whether we're simply tutoring a struggling student or facing personal challenges as a group. I hope that we take this quality with us as we branch into the world, spreading love and compassion everywhere we go for the rest of our lives. This is our time to use what we have learned to bring light into the darkness. Now more than ever, we need to spread the idea of togetherness and family. We may be required to be physically apart, but we can still connect through kindness. Whether we are placing motivational signs on display, making small donations to a charity, or simply checking in on a friend or neighbor, we are impacting our community. One act of kindness can make a significant difference in someone's life. As author and anthropologist Margaret Mead said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." As kindness begets kindness, one act can inspire others. Before we know it, one good deed can blossom into a world of benevolent acts. I hope this small body of people becomes the change our world needs. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our superintendent, Mr. Shane Murray.
Congratulations, class of 2020. We are very proud of you. Although this graduation ceremony will be celebrated a little bit different than others, your contribution to our school district will not be forgotten. At this time, it is my honor to certify your graduation. So with the authority vested in me as the superintendent of the Iroquois School District, I certify that you have met all board and state requirements for graduation. Tonight you will receive a diploma, which is proof of your achievement. Mrs. Abel, Mr. Wilson, you can prepare to hand the diplomas to the graduates. And Mrs. Willow, you may now read their names. Congratulations again, class of 2020.
John Joseph Cardoza. Rachel Leona Nascoda. Anthony Aaron Sutton. Mackenzie May Moore. Maxine Veda Marie Schley. Mason Patrick Olson. Abigail June Peterson. Isaac Michael Alcorn. Emily Marie Sipe. Jacob Theodore Boring. Joshua Hayes Walker. Holly Noel Bennett. Christian Adrian Cruz. Nolan James Kessner. Chadwick Norman Kessler. Isabel Lee Wilson. Hayden Joel Miller. Thomas Anthony Sigler. Amanda Caroline Welsbacher. Jackson Douglas Abel. Dustin Michael Bricker. Jacob Anthony Mox. Emma Elizabeth Chapman. Pete Jordan Ziegler. Mitchell David Northrup. John Raymond Puzarowski. Joshua David Pichel. Jeremiah James Biber. Carly Catherine Tromans. Adam Garrett Seymour. Zachariah Aaron Barker. Travis Michael Curtis. Grace Elizabeth Major. Christian Wayne Baker. Emma J. Paratano. Eric Mason Ford. Connor Ridge Sonny. Sarah Louise Dollinger. Sarah Marie Kerr. Colin Joshua Armstrong. Zachary Joseph Jakula. Anna Renee Rosenquist. Brandon Charles Fenno. Kiana Lauren Mayo. Leo Donald Baker. Ethan Daniel Brewer. Michael David Oswald. Brandon Thomas Powell. Miranda Catherine Wisniewski. Isaiah Michael Dalaba. Rebecca Marie Silva. Joseph Michael Westcott. Isabella Cornflower Niles. Dominic Anthony Wesley. Mackenzie K. Smith. Matthew John Alessi. Mark Anthony Harper. Michael Maurice Harper. Joseph Charles Wargo. Hayden James Gray. Jenna Barbara Fischetti. Cassidy June Shannon. Sierra Rose Jaskowitz. Travis Alexander Armbruster. Sierra Gail Peebles. Angelina Faith Miola. Desiree Hope Miola. Jasmine Love Miola. Joshua Angelo Miola. Paula Marie Jeffrey. Lucas Raymond Vasali. Jada Cecilia Brostowski. Corey Alexander Longo. Hannah Rebecca Varish. Kale Nye Rounds. Maria Raquel Guzman. Brianna Christine Boyer. Nathaniel Victor Gay. Nicole Renee Henry. Mary Beth Gabrielle Laney. Lilliam K. Pierce. Holly Noel Sitter. Jared David Dash. Matthew David Rose. Hai Fan Nguyen. Paige Arlene Hepp. Abigail Christine Melendez. Braden Andrew Carr. Nathan Anthony Wozniak. At this time, I would like to ask Rachel Nascoda to present the valedictory.
To my fellow classmates, congratulations to each and every one of you. We should be extremely proud of ourselves because we worked hard to get to this day. While it might be difficult to say goodbye, we should focus on the good memories we had at Iroquois and look forward to the future. Good luck, class of 2020. It is now my privilege to call up our class president, Zachary Jakula.
Fellow classmates, please stand. It's time to make our move to graduates. Grab your tassel and start the countdown. 3, 2, 1. And now for the Iroquois alma mater.